Howie, here's what's amazing about you. Among multiple things, is that you have been famous for 40 years, at least?
Yes.
45 years?
Infamous.
And I think we can all agree that is a hard thing to do, right? To stay, I mean, this is a marathon,
keep working.
right? It's an ultra marathon. To keep working, you're still on incredibly popular shows. Your daughter actually likes you.
You weren't for a chunk.
I wasn't. Right before Deal or No Deal, I was quitting the business.
What do you mean quitting?
Like he was done.
I was done. I wasn't doing anything. And
what do you mean not? You were just like moping around the house?
Are you doing your podcast or mine?
I don't
do you want me to tell you?
I'm gonna. Ken's showing up pretty soon.
Yes.
I feel like it's okay for me to be fascinated by. Like you're a very famous person.
I'll tell you the truth. The truth is that right before that's 2005. I have more failed pilots. Not even they didn't even get to air than you can even imagine. I had everything.
I've seen all the memorabilia.
From them. It's memorabilia of my failures I have behind me.
I have the same thing in my house.
I got a warehouse. I didn't want them where I live.
Yeah, that's the deer that you hit with your car, right?
No, that's a talking deer.
Yeah.
What's he saying? What's he saying?
What did it say?
What did he say?
Is it? That's amazing.
It's not talking
that thing can derail a conversation like that.
Yeah.
What an amazing.
It's not saying anything. I thought he could talk.
So you were out of the business, and then NBC.
In the 80s,
Ben Silverman was like, "Please do Deal or No."
In the 80s, I blew up in the early 80s, and then by 2005, I was going from comedy club to comedy club, empty comedy club to empty comedy club.
Were they open at that point?
No, I like wandering. Right. I was sitting in folding chairs in casting offices reading for 5 lines and under. And then I got a call from, I'll tell this really quickly. I got a call.
I am fascinated by this, and please take your time telling it. I am not kidding.
I know you see me. I know you're not kidding. I know you're not kidding.
I love this shit.
I would love to go on somebody else's podcast and I don't have to say anything and let them tell 2-hour stories.
All right. So you're reading under 5 lines. You're like, I was the star of St. Elsewhere. I had a huge stand-up career, and it's all going away.
Come sit here.
All right. Wait, can I touch your headphones?
Yeah.
Aren't they all? Don't they have to be sanitized?
He's medicated.
A guest on my own show, Joel Mchale, Howie Mandel, guests on Joel. Wow.
I wish I had some.
What's it like working with my daughter?
She's delightful, except for all the systemic racism she spews out all the time.
Great. Now I'm canceled.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm just, saying that maybe read a couple books.
All right, thank you.
So, Howie, wow, the headphones are way better. My voice is popping in this. It's great. Not popping in the sound booth bad way, but in a good way. So, Howie.
Yeah.
You're reading, you're like, I'm out because I'm not getting any roles.
Well, as you know, I invest in other things because I didn't trust.
You invested in your family.
That's right.
You raised sensible children.
Well, you don't know that yet.
You raised a co-host.
I raised a co-host.
Again.
So he could keep working.
And I only have to do half the work for one thing, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm not even co-hosting.
No, this is going to be great. So it's 2005.
Yeah. And I get a call. I said, this is so fucking horrible. It really is. It's a horrible business. It's a hard business. And
it's no joke.
No, and it's humiliating and it's tough and it keeps getting tougher. And I go, I don't need this at this point in my life. So I was in my mid-40s and I get a call from my manager and goes, NBC would love you to be the host of a game show. Before you even got game show out, I hung up the phone.
Right.
And
then you sanitized it.
It's always sanitized before I pick it up.
Oh, well done.
In 2005, they said, would you like to do a game show? I hung up the phone. Because at that time, no comedian had done a game show. The game show, us whose currency is irony, the game show host was the punchline.
For whatever reason, it didn't make any sense because so many game show hosts throughout history have been marvelously talented, and for whatever reason, they were the bottom of the barrel. And it's like, if you did that, you can't do anything else.
For a
it was
comedian.
Really weird. Well,
yeah. The last one who did it before that was Groucho Marx, who did it brilliantly on You Bet Your Life, which I think Jay is doing now. I don't know.
No, there was multiple hosts. I mean, obviously,
comedians.
No, I'm not saying comedian. I'm just saying a game show host, a person that was put into that category. We're always like I always thought they were like very funny and very good, but for whatever reason in our silly business, it was like the same thing. We're like, oh, you do TV, you can't ever do movies.
Right.
And unless you get unless you become Michael J. But that only happens once in a while.
But I felt like I was being humiliated, and then I didn't want this kick in the ego anymore, and I wanted to get out. And to get this call saying you want to be a game show was going to be the nail in the coffin of my career. So I said no, and I hung up the phone. And then they called back a minute later, and they said, no, this is not like you think. This is bigger than anything. This is going to be, and they've never done this before. NBC is going to give 5 nights to primetime hours. And they're going to launch it, and it's a huge game all over the world. And I went, are you fucking kidding me? No, that's even more of a reason I can be humiliated like 10 times more than I think.
On a gigantic scale.
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe nobody's going to see it, but on a gigantic scale.
But it was prime time.
He calls me back the last time. They go, they can't do it without you. Can he just show you the game? And
he is who? Ben Silverman?
It turned out to be Rob Smith, who was at a company called Endemol. I was at Jerry's Deli in the Valley, and I said, I'm not going anywhere, but if he wants to show up, I'll sit here. I'm having soup.
You're like, I'm having enough corned beef to...
Soup.
That's it. You're having
Isn't that weird?
That's all he ever...
Soup. Isn't that weird that you're here today and I'm telling the soup story?
Amazing. Camel toe.
Yeah.
Tattoo.
Okay. So he shows up, and I thought I was being punked because he shows up with this board. It looked like a 7-year-old had done an after-school project. He made 26 squares.
You have the board here.
I'll show you the board after,
You took the board home.
He takes everything home. Do you see this warehouse?
I'm a hoarder.
Yeah.
With some real estate.
Well, the good thing about your hoarding is that it's all very clean. Most of it is
There's
food.
the deal or no deal card.
You took it off the wall.
You had it framed.
Yeah.
Well, because this shitty little card, which was in Jerry's, I thought I was being punked. He brought this little card in.
Wow.
And these things, and he goes, okay, pick one of the squares. And he goes, don't tell me what it is.
He played the game. But
there is no fucking game. You know there's no game. There's no skill.
I know there's no game. It's opening, as we said on the soup, which is like opening containers with Howie Mandel.
Right. You were right. It wasn't even a joke.
Right, but it still is gambling. But that said, this does not communicate the scale of the show.
Well, the point is, if you're looking at the picture, I say, look at this shit little thing, and then 2 weeks. Well, let me tell you the story, and then because I'm going to ruin the end. So
you're not. You don't have to. There's nothing to ruin. You're doing great.
It's just this is not about being canceled.
But like I'm going to nail this. Like it's not a talk show.
Tell a good story.
It's a great story. I just want you to be you.
On my podcast?
Yes. You're great. People care.
I don't understand what's going on.
So
ISSA, that's cleaning.
I know. It's very exciting.
Okay.
So wait, but this does not show that. Okay, go ahead. So I don't know.
Well, it doesn't. So the guy says to me, we need you to do this show. I go, I don't know. He goes, we can't do it without you. And this is such a big commitment and worldwide success. It's already has. America's the last country to get on board. And I go home and I say to she goes, are you going to do it? And I go, I don't think so. She goes, you know what, Howie? Take the deal. Just do it. Just to do it because you're miserable. You're at home. You're miserable. And I go, this is going to be so embarrassing. I phoned back to NBC and I said, I'll do it. When do you shoot? And this is a Friday. They said Monday. And I go, wait. Don't you have to build a set? And they go, we got it built. I go, well, don't you have to hire 26 models? They're there. So how
for just
fucking
getting him out of
down the list was I? How many people said no to this job?
Here's the revelation. The soup had just started, and they asked me to do that.
Is that real?
No.
Oh, there's so many lies.
But for a moment, she believed it, and then Howie's like, wait a minute.
I'm gullible.
No, he wasn't the first host. Anyway, the thing is that
you didn't take the show because this stood out to you. You took the show because mom wanted you out of the house.
Right. So,
but I had a question for you also because you hadn't been working in years,
a long time, nothing successfully.
What about money? Were you like?
No, I did well.
It would be nice to have a big check, but you're not one of those people, because I am desperate. I think every job I take is the last one.
So do I, from the first job I had, and that's why I have always invested, and I've always been involved in other businesses. I tell this to people.
Right, but in the back of your mind, but you were able to take years off, you're saying, and the investment's just paid.
Well, I'm in business. I do business.
Well, I do business too, and
What business are you in?
hold on before we get to that.
Why won't you answer a
We'll
question?
get
Why do
into
I have
the
to answer
businesses I
questions on
wanna-
my own podcast?
No, we'll talk about investments and stuff like that.
He's not
but
answering questions.
I am saying,
This is not a
like an
normal
actor
podcast.
or a comedian, do you? Because this is what I have. This desperate feeling. I'm like, well, this
This is
probably-
my last one.
Yeah, this is the
so
last one.
finally, I
So-
leaned into that.
Right.
And
so
I said,
there
I
was
don't
the
want
part
that
of you
hell.
just like, get out of the house. It wasn't just that. It was like, they're going to write a pretty huge check right out of the gate for doing this show.
No, they weren't even offering me a lot of money.
No.
Yeah.
They absolutely did.
No. Well, not enough to say I'm going to like
But you taped how many episodes in what period of time?
6 episodes.
6 episodes in 3 or 4 days?
They did, what was it, 1 episode, 2 episodes a day? Is somebody here that was with me?
Right.
So 3 or 4
no,
days.
No, all those people are
4
so
days.
old they've passed away. But
You're right. That's why they're tattooed and old.
these are their grandchildren who are so great that they're here. They can talk about the old days. But because I think that's the secret about game shows is that you can tape them so quickly
Right.
and you get paid well.
Right. But it wasn't about the pay. And they weren't paying me phenomenally.
Wasn't your wife just a little bit like, hey, it's a pretty damn good check? So
No, not the money. It was more about getting me out of the house. I'm really annoying. Can you tell?
At no point it was anybody arguing the opposite.